Hello, Swivelheads. It's Greg Allison with Swivelhead News coming to you very late live. I just got in an hour ago from Planet Houston. Finally, it was a 2-day trip out of the orbits of that planet. I discovered the orbits were bigger and a little harder to get out of sometimes than others. Geez, guys, but we're going to go into some other stuff here. We're going to talk about news first, and we'll talk about my adventures and have our normal chit chat. Toward the end, I am going to do a refresh here so I at least can keep up with the chat room as we go into this. I just got home. So 760 miles, no accidents until I was lugging my luggage upstairs and skipped myself up real nice. But that's another story. Yeah. Whoops. Chat room. Hang on. As we go, let me get the mute on this thing. Alrighty, folks, here we are. Somebody might post a notice. Last I'll put a notice, yeah, in Discord. Thank you. Alrighty. Very good. Yeehaw. Whew. It's been an adventure. I'm beat. But guys, I hadn't talked to y'all. I wanted to talk to y'all last night, and I just didn't get a chance because I had to get up early and just too many things to do. But, and I'm not going to string up articles like I normally do. We're just going to talk a little bit about some of the things going on because it's really concerning where we're at. Do you realize that the administration has really admitted that they're terrorists coming across the border? You may have heard of this case. This one guy got apprehended by a nursing staff and admitted that he wanted to make a bomb. Yeah. Thing is, it goes boom. That was, and he wasn't even interrogated to admit it. Oh yeah, he said he was a member of Hamas, come across our border. Wow. Well, he was one that just freely admitted it. How many others have come across that wouldn't admit things? You know, if you were coming in, wow, Rodney, awesome. Thank you, Rodney. Woo-wee. That's going to help. Man, this has been an expensive week for me. It's about to sunk my boat. So I appreciate that, Rodney. Thank you for the super chat. All right, guys. That's why I turn the chat room on. That's what keeps me going here, guys. It's the only thing keeping me going right now. All righty, folks. So, we'll talk about this adventure in a little bit. But this whole thing, this terrorist business, is getting out of hand because Christopher Wray admitted it. It was in, I may pull this stuff in articles in another night or two to show you some background on this, if other breaking news hasn't already swept this under the rug. But there's even in the White House admission that straight out of the administration talking about what could be coming across our border. They know this. They know it. Yet they think the thing to do is leave the borders wide open or try to extort more spending so that they can shut the border down when too many people come across and overwhelms the Customs Border Patrol people, like over 5,000 a day or something like that. Excuse me? If they could shut it down after that, but why can't they just go ahead and shut it down now without all that? We know they can't. There's other things afoot. What are they? Why would they want to do this? Well, you know, Elon Musk says it's for votes. Other people say it's so they can change the electoral college and, you know, congressional seats. Maybe. So maybe they can take some oomph away from the blue state, swing states. Maybe it's, and then again, it could be Cloward and Piven, because Cloward and Piven laid out a plan in the 60s. This seems to be where we're at. Somebody prove me wrong. Somebody with more knowledge than I, explain to me. I mean, this platform don't like such conversations, so somebody come in here on the platform or whatever and show me where I'm wrong. Show me what I'm missing. We know Cloward and Piven didn't have any real influence. They're not cited by so many people. They didn't stand behind Bill Clinton when he signed the motor bill. No, that picture on the internet of them there, you know, that's just made up, right? What do you think? What do you think? Anyway, guys, I don't know. Who am I? I'm just some poor dumb rocket scientist. What do I know? That's probably why I get beat on this platform so much. Yikes, guys. But anyway, it's something. It's really something where we're at. I mean, think about it. Yeah, but we're headed. Here's the deal. I kind of talked about this on my Green Greg's channel. How do you turn this around? They're already here. Trump wants to deport them. He wants to deport all the immigrants that come across illegally. Well, he's going to have all kind of roadblocks thrown in front of him by the other party, and legal steps, courts, everybody's going to get involved in it from a dozen different directions and do everything they can to stop that if he gets elected. And if they don't, who knows? Who knows? Can he pull it off? Maybe somewhat. I hope they focus first on trying to identify who would be terrorists who come here to hurt America and get them people out first. That should be the priority. And then figure out what to do next. That should be done anyway. Whoever is president, I don't care what party you're in. If somebody's here in this country that hurt this country, how come you're not making a concerted effort to get those folks out? That's what Jim Jordan was asking Mayorkas about, if y'all might remember, in some testimony. And Mayorkas just played dumb. Yeah, I don't know. What I know. I'm just the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Insecurity. Jeez. Well, that incensed Jim Jordan. I wish Jim Jordan had been the Speaker of the House, but that didn't pan out. Anyway, strange stuff, guys. Really strange stuff. So here's the deal. What makes America great is what we believe. It's what we think. It's what's in our hearts. It's not the color of our skin, the color of our hair, our eyes. It's not necessarily the faith that we adhere to, even though certain faiths do seem to be a little bit more in line with prosperity. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. Maybe not. But, here's what we do know. Order, law, love of the country, willingness to work for this country, willingness to build a better place here. That matters. Having some allegiance to the place you come to, some allegiance for the place where you lay your head, for your neighbors, your friends. Who is America? It's not the knuckleheads in the side the Beltway, north of the Potomac River. Some of them are south of the Potomac River in Northern Virginia, unfortunately. But it's the people. It's your neighbor. It's your sister, your brother, your mother, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, the guy down the street, the guy at the dock, the guy at the, at the factory, the guy shoeing a horse. I don't have too much of that these days, but there's still some of those. It's you, me. We are America, the people. We the people. Remember that? We the people do and ordain. Somewhere along the lines, a couple of things got out of kilter. One, the servants, the so-called, what's supposed to be the servants, were the public servants, the elected, and the people they hired. They're supposed to be the servants to who? We the people. But somehow they got it in their head that they're the lords, that we are the deplorables in flyover land. Is there something missing with this picture? Is there something missing? And they promoted education. It teaches to hate the country, to hate our founding fathers. Were our founding fathers perfect? No man is perfect. Not by a long shot. I never claimed they were perfect. Every time you say something, somebody goes, well, so and so, that's okay. I get that in a lot of comments. Well, okay. I never said they were perfect. But what they did do, what the founding fathers in this country did, I don't care what you say, they did one thing that hadn't been done anywhere else. They planted the seed of the love of freedom. Now, some people think freedom is racist. Freedom knows no color. Freedom is applicable to anybody. And so is economic opportunity if it's set up correctly. Pure capitalism works for anyone. When I was in the Army, I knew, in a sense, I've known people that come in this country, couldn't even speak the language, come in this country without a penny in their pocket, made out really good. Whereas Americans already sitting here with all kinds of programs available to them, wind up nowhere. Why? It's a matter of gumption in large part. I'm tired of hearing people say, well, somebody inherited this, inherited that, they got this, they got that. You explain to me that the immigrant who does come here and make good on nothing. I've seen it. Those guys that I knew loved this country better than most Americans. They came here because they had a dream and they made something out of it. That's what we can do. But the problem is we're bringing the third world in here and we're not a culture of them. We're not bringing them up to who we are. We don't have a standard for it. We used to bring people here. My ex-wife came here from Kenya. Well, she did all the proper steps to become a citizen. She did it right, and it included, getting educated about America and, swearing, an allegiance to the United States of America. And she took it serious. She loves this country better than most Americans probably. She's got realism about it. She realizes the streets aren't paved with gold. And her parents sent her younger sister over. She warned them not to. She said, it's hard over here. Their family was well off in Kenya. They actually lived more prosperous in Kenya, but they've done well. They've done well. They're a very industrious family, hardworking. They care about each other. They care about family. They're very family oriented. That's what we need. When people are family oriented, they're made out of good stuff. They're the salt of the earth. But the love of freedom is something we've got to teach. We've got to turn it back on. If we don't, we will be a third world nation, because it's not just the immigrants we bring in. It's our own children. It's our own kids. The school systems have educated our kids to hate America. They tell we're the worst country that ever existed. Well, that only people look like this are capable of doing things that are terrible and bad. I can show you lots of cases throughout all the history of mankind that are exceptions to that. I'm not saying we're perfect. No, nobody is perfect. We all are human. We all have flaws. That's part of the state of being human. But also part of the state of being human is to try to learn your way out of it, to try to come up, to try to better yourself, to try to build a better world. A better world does include fairness and equity, but I believe in equity of opportunity. Equity isn't that you take money from one person and give it to another. That's robbery. You give that other person opportunity. But problem is these same elites who like to look down their nose at everybody else, they want to knock all the ladders out so nobody else can ascend up to higher levels. Yeah. And it's true in the corporate world. I mean, if you look at what happened after that thing went around, you know what I'm talking about, starting in 2019, maybe mainly in 2020, a lot of small businesses were shut down because people couldn't go shop at all these businesses. But, they could go shop at the big box stores. Oh, yeah. Why is it you could go to Wally World and throng in with huge crowds, and that was okay, but you couldn't go down to the what used to be a 5 and dime store. Oh, no, you can't go there. You might get sick. You might spread the... Interesting, right? Interesting. What happened? The big companies made tons. Oh, yeah, they made tons. They're very profitable. And what else have they done? They're laying people off left and right now. They don't care about people. Well, I tell you guys all the time. I could have done this on green graves, what I'm talking about so far, but we're going to be in other topics here. It probably wouldn't be something good to cover on green graves. This is your main means of voting. It's how you spend your money. If you put all your money up in those groups, companies that adhere to such philosophies, then they just get bigger. Support your mom and pop shops in your neighborhoods. Support your neighbors. Support the small guys as much as you can. Yeah, we miss Granny Atlanta. We had one of our longtime dear friends of the channel, dear family member to us, pass away. Granny Atlanta. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. That's a real sad thing for us. We thought the world of her. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, guys. So anyway, so we've got to turn this country around, or we will be a third world nation. We've got to do something. I've talked about this, and it starts with you and me. and what we say to people, reaching out to people. You know, there's a reason I did a video 3 or 4 years ago called Rose-Colored Glasses, and this is the glasses I bought just to do that video. When I was driving, you know, through eastern Alabama down by WWIII, or, you know, those communities, on my way to South Georgia to visit another worm outfit. So, yeah, rose-colored glasses, guys. And what was that all about? It's trying to understand how other people see the world, their worldview. That's how you communicate with them. Because if you can't get in their heads, you can't talk to them. You can't. They won't hear anything you say. If you just hit them with what you think up front, it's going to be shields up. You got to reach through, and you know it helps to understand them, be able to communicate with them. Where do they come from? Why do they think that? I mean, most people don't want to do that. They don't want to go. Well, you know, why do they think that? One of the beauties of freedom of speech is if we put everything on the table and have a wide open discourse, the good ideas should float to the top. It might take a while. There might be arguments and stuff, but by and large, the good ideas ought to stand. Truth can stand on its own 2 feet. When people don't want that discussion, what are they trying to hide? What are they trying to sweep under the rug and cover up? I mean, there's a lot of misinformation out there. Maybe they don't like this, but if they leave an open forum, eventually, whatever the truth is, it'll stand on its own 2 feet. What's so terrible about that? That's part of the founding principle of this nation is freedom of speech. Oh, they know likey. No authoritarian system likes freedom of speech. The dismissal of freedom of speech is a step toward authoritarianism. Authoritarianism is terrible. Show me an authoritarian state that's great and wonderful. Show me one. Show me one authoritarian state that's better than the United States. For all those people that think the United States is the worst nation on earth, show me one example. One. Come here and show me one example of an authoritarian system that's better. I dare you, I double dog dare you to show me just one that's better. Explain to me why you think it's better. I want to hear it. I'm just some poor dumb rocket scientist. I got to hear this, guys. I really got to hear it. I just don't think such a thing. Northern Girl Hobbies, how you doing? I don't think such a thing exists. I do not see it in any shape, form, or fashion. I don't know what Northern Girl Hobbies don't have a ranch in my channel. She's been around in a lot of other friendly channels. Somebody want to nominate her to get a wrench? Let's hear from you guys. All right, so but here's the thing. We've got, seriously, back to the news. I'll get off my soapbox here for a minute. Back to the news. I should do news first. I started out with commentary. The news, guys, is that now they're coming out and say, oh, Iran is likely to hack. We believe Iran is already starting to hack and maybe hacking a broad smorgasbord of our water treatment facilities, both for drinking water and sewage. And the reasons for this are they're wide open, their security is poor, they're understaffed, they're underfunded, and a lot of them don't have security measures in place. They're easy pickings, yet they are a critical life essential utility. Fresh water, you can't live without it. Yeah, fresh water also, and water sewage treatment also requires all this is run on electric power. So Iran, the same country they're worried about hacking us, has got people all in this country, directly or through organizations like Hamas, who don't intend for us the best will. How do you know they're not just going to come up and slip something in the water? We don't know. But worse than that, all I got to do is knock out the power. The head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard said years ago they'd already targeted 20 power substations. That was years ago. They've probably got 1,000, 10,000 times more people in the country now than they did then. What might they do? What might they do? Let's see. Northern Girl's Hobbies has been she's a good lady. I think I'm going to make her a mod here. Add as moderator. Bing, bang. Northern Girl Hobbies, you are hereby smurfed. Use your wrench wisely. All right. Hey, Anton, Vietnam. Well, just because you have natural resources in a great land don't mean you're going to have prosperity. The United States is uniquely situated to be prosperous geographically. We're not blessed in so many ways. We have this vast river system that connects so much of the interior heartland. We have the largest contiguous growing area of any nation. We have great fertile soil. We have lots of coastal areas, which are good for shipping, trade. We have an infrastructure. It may not be China might have built more stuff recently, but a lot of that was what they call tofu construction. It might fall apart in 5 years, but it was made in China. But we still, in spite of all our divisions and all our faults and all our consternations here in this country, they still have a lot of people here who believe in freedom, who want freedom, who want good things for their family. We should not let people take this from us. And we shouldn't let people lecture to us. Don't let people lecture to you and tell you how bad we are. You can say, okay, sure, now what are we going to do about it? I mean, I've never had somebody come in and say, yeah, this person terrible, that person. I just go, hey, we all had faults. That's my reply. But the seed was planted, the seed for freedom. The seed for freedom. Slavery was terrible. Absolutely. Should never have existed. And some of our founding fathers who wrote a lot of those words, like Thomas Jefferson, the slave owner, but he wrote words of freedom. He had some problems dealing with that internally, but he knew freedom was important. In spite of the fact that he was a slave owner, he planted a seed, and so did George Washington and others, that later would grow and blossom to more freedom. I mean, you got to start somewhere. Freedom is a very key thing. Freedom and love. Why can't we love our neighbors? Why can't we learn to love each other? But the whole point of this is we got a threat right now. A lot of people are here that mean ill will toward us. A lot of them are planning to act on it. I'm expecting full-blown mayhem. This could lead to not a red-blue civil war. It could lead to something bigger and multipolar going on in this country with all the sleeper cells going off. It would be like, it's not a civil war. It's like World War III, and the invading forces are already here from many other countries. Anybody that don't love us, they're all here on our ground. The mayhem that could be, that they could unleash on this country is unimaginable. I hope we could convince some of them not to want to go down that road. And I would hope before they do, the people that plan to do mayhem are sent elsewhere, back home. There's nothing like home. Jeez, if you don't see this as your home, if you don't see this as a place you love, you shouldn't be here. Am I right or wrong? If I'm on to something, put a 2 in the chat room. If I'm off my rocker, put a 1 in the chat room. I'd like to see what you guys think about it. If I'm off my rocker, put a 1 in the chat room. Tell me about it. Then tell me why. I need some education. I'm looking to learn. Can you teach me something? We all need to be open-minded, but not so open-minded when we tilt our head, our brains fall out. All right, guys. Yeah, it's important to listen to other people. I mean, you ain't going to get them to start to understand you unless you let them talk a little bit. And you go, okay, Anton thinks I'm off my rocker. Okay, Anton, tell me why. Anton thinks I'm off my rocker. Well, thanks for saying so. But now back it up. -1, says Joe. I don't even know what -1 means. It's the other direction, I guess. Most people think I'm on to something here. Anyway, most people, a lot of people on prepping channels, they don't want to hear like stuff like they want to hear, well, let's go. No, you got to defend yourself. You got to defend your family. You got to defend yourselves. Absolutely. You got to defend your country. So a lot of people don't want to defend the country. When you swear that oath, when you join the military and lots of public offices, you swear to protect the United States Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic. Now, how do you define enemy? Well, if it's to the Constitution, if somebody don't like the Constitution, and what's one of the big things in our Constitution? It codifies freedom and limits government, severely limits government. But is that followed today? Is that all right, Anton? Speak up, buddy. Spain, there's like what was his name on Lisa Ball? What was her husband back in the day? Arnie, shoot, can't even think of his name right off the bat. He said, you got some, Lucille, you got some splaining to do. Who played the slave owners? What do you mean played who paid the slave owners? Who paid them? I don't. You tell me. You must have some idea there. Tell me about it. Well, we got slavery here today. Maybe more than we had back then. It's just swept under the rug. It's called human trafficking. And it goes across that wide open border. Having that border open is a tacit approval of slavery because it permits human trafficking. So don't tell me you're anti-slavery and let that border be open without any checks or balances, without any vetting of who's coming in and how they're coming in. Desi. There you go. Desi Arnaz. Thank you. Anyway. Ricky Ricardo. Yeah, that was his stage name. So, yeah, a lot of it started out that way, S. Lee. But there were a lot of people participated in that venture from here and overseas too. The people that financed it, the people built the ships. Yeah, that was a bigger industry than a lot of people led on. Whatever. I'm not justifying that industry. I think slavery. I'm for freedom. Freedom for everybody. Equal opportunity, not equal outcome. If somebody wants to sit on the couch all day and munch bonbons and play video games all day, they don't deserve half of what somebody who's out sweating their brow and busting their back earns. Social safety net is a good idea, but it used to be handled by communities and churches. I don't know, guys. I think we need, our country's going broke. We're $34 trillion in debt. How much more can we afford? You tell me. Just tell me, huh? Anyway, but here's the deal. We're at the precipice of utter mayhem right here because we're on the verge of World War all around the globe. We got our fingers in all kinds of pies and places. And there's a lot of people don't like that, especially people on the other side of each of these places. So it's an ugly situation. And those people they got people right here. World War I, World War II was all taken care of overseas. WWIII? No. It's right here, guys. So we're talking about a possible civil war right here, but also World War III right here on terra firma inside the US of A. But the kind of the premise of the title of this topic was Third World USA. If we're bringing the third world across the border, and if we don't integrate them with the dream of what we can be, what they can be, the dream, the love of freedom, the love of America, the love of law and order, to have the basis for prosperity. Who's going to invest in something? You're not going to go and build a store if you know it's going to be burnt down next year. or 5 years from now, 10 years from now. You're not going to invest in anything if you think somebody's just come along and loot it, knock it over, burn it down. Well, that investing in that store or whatever it is you're doing, any enterprise you do, provides jobs. Most jobs in this country have always been provided by those small companies. The ones that got shut down, a lot of them by the, yeah, not the big corporations, which now that they got their big fat profits and they're turning everything over to AI, they're laying people off in the thousands, tens of thousands. Big tech companies. So yeah, laying folks off. I didn't see that coming. Easy Swiveler, says John. Hello, Tim. Anyway, so got to work to eat. That's right. That was the old rule. If you want to eat, work. That was the old rule. If you want to eat, work. So we protect those pies too, aka the Philippines and China. Well, you know, we need to have national debate about some of those things. I mean, is this where we need to be? Why do we need to be there? At one time, the United States took the Philippines from Spain in the Spanish-American War, which is probably a lot of people question the pretenses on which that was started. You know, the event with the Maine, USS Maine in Cuba, because the Hearst group was really pushing for a conflict before it started with Spain. So there's a lot of counterpoints, let's say that, on that topic. I'm not going to go into that because this platform probably don't want to hear it, but you know what I'm talking about. A lot of counterpoints out there. The Hearst group was really pushing. Now they got what they wanted. And suddenly America, the land of freedom, became a colonial empire. Spain taking a lot of the holdings that had belonged to Spain, Cuba, Puerto Rico, which we still have, and the Philippines. So we kind of came but we did give Cuba and the Philippines back their freedom. And the Philippines later, when we were in militarily, we freed them from Japan later. You know, the previous president of the Philippines thought we were having too much power there, and they kicked us out. Some people make the point, well, America's everywhere, and you know, once you get American, you don't get rid of them. No, the Philippines kicked us out. But then now they've asked us to come back because they realize that China is too big for them to deal with. And they're having lots of problems with China. But we do have a defense treaty with the Philippines. Absolutely, ironclad defense treaty. Now, if we choose not that we don't want to honor that, we should make a decision along those lines. But for right now, we do have an ironclad defense treaty with China, and even the administration, whatever it's worth, has just reinforced and says, yes, we got an ironclad treaty with the Philippines, and we will protect them to the hilt. Wait, I love the Philippines. The people from there, they're good people. What should be done there? I don't know. But right as it stands, we're to defend them. It is, if you're looking at geographically, if you're trying to contain China, well, yeah, you need the Philippines and Taiwan. So what's going to happen with all that? China will probably run out of steam on their own as they're trying to build their empire because they're having a lot of internal problems now. So how much do we need to stoke it? Well, the Philippines shouldn't have to suffer being invaded. You know, China's come out and said, hey, we're going to claim part of the Gulf of Tonkin. You know, they're wanting Vladivostok back from Russia. So, you know, China wants everything. They want to take things. They go in the South China Sea and areas of exclusive economic zone of other nations, such as the Philippines, and just say, well, this is ours. Why? Because we say so. Oh, we pass a law that says it's ours. It's our sovereignty. So if you go in this territory that according to the UN and all the treaties, including the ones we signed, the Law of the Sea Treaty, and you try to exercise your rights by that treaty, you're a violation of our sovereignty, and we will knock you out. That's what China's saying, which is bogus. Pure bogus. I mean, but China's got nuclear weapons. China's got an off switch on just about every system we have here in the United States. They didn't have to attack us. They just got to go and flip all them switches and poof, the lights go out. How do we allow that to happen? How do we get ourselves in this predicament? Jeez. We're on a collision course with China. I don't know how we get out of this point because China has already declared war on us. Look at the fentanyl. What else is that? What else is that? If you think that's something else, tell me in the chat room. I want to hear it. So it's not a pretty situation. We have allowed ourselves to be set up in so many different ways. We're in for a rough time till we get our heads screwed back on our shoulders. Soft men make hard times, right? Hard times make strong men. Strong men make good times. That kind of analogy. We're about to see the worst times we ever had. I hope that we survive it. But that survival is going to come from the grit of people that love this country, that love the idea of freedom, that love the idea of opportunity. That's what made this nation great. And if we can hold on to that, this can still be a great land right here. That's what we got to do. But the hospital, all right, Anton. So here's the deal. What are your contingency plans for grid down? To live, I'm not going to be on a grid here in about a month or so. No grid. That's my contingency plan. Is to make it my primary plan, not my contingency. It's going to be my way of life. Good Lord willing, if I got money for gas to get back to Arizona again. Yeah, I've been hit pretty hard lately by a lot of stuff. So, they say, every man for himself. That's about it. I don't know if she wants to talk about it, but she's had some visions and they're not pretty. Basically, guys, it don't take but a handful of people to take down our power grid. Just a handful. It don't take the thousands and thousands of members of sleeper cells to take down our power grid. Taking down our power grid would totally ruin this nation as we know it. Life as we know it would be unalterably changed. The expectation, just based on societal collapse and the disease that would penetrate from that, was that 9 out of 10 people would perish inside of a year. They did not take into account what would happen when that estimate was made. Well, they did a lot of research in that, but they were only looking at certain things. I know. I talked to one of the guys who was involved in it, the late, great Dr. Peter Vincent Pry. He was intimately connected to the people that did the study. 9 out of 10 people. It's going to be far worse if we don't do something. This is why I chaired 2 power grid defense conferences before I ever started YouTube. I realized the gravity of the situation we faced, and I realized it was worse than they thought, because I knew right then we already had problems with spent fuel rod pools at the nuclear power plants when they lose power. You can prep for all kind of stuff. That's hard to prep for. It's also hard to prep for all the starving people that's going to be pouring out of the cities. Don't mean you don't prep. Yeah, if you don't prep, you're nuts. If you know you got a hurricane coming, are you going to board your windows up, or are you going to say, oh, well, there's nothing I can do? Gee, that's called prepping. I can't put plywood on my windows. You know, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit there in your house and not evacuate, you know, when you know you're about to get hit by a 12-foot storm surge? Or are you going to wait the last minute when all the streets are full of people trying to get out and you can't escape? You got to think ahead. That's part of I'm here for, is to help you think ahead, to prepare yourself as best you can, to be out of harm's way, to protect yourself and your family. That's what we do. And this all could have been on Green Grigs. I really hadn't gone, I tried to do this channel more, the stuff that's a little more sensitive. I wouldn't cover on Green Grigs. But anyway, well, it is a little sensitive because we're talking about the politics of immigration. Okay. That's sensitive. Greg, I can envision the sales happening. They own transports, hotel, gas stations, restaurants. Yeah, they are owners, people, of stuff here in this country. Lots of stuff. Yeah. Yeah. They've been coming in here. There's restaurants around here that they're almost some of these people. Never have customers in them, but they've been in business for 20 years. How do they stay in business? I hear they get moolah from Uncle Sugar. I don't know. How come some poor dumb American don't get moolah from Uncle Sugar? Why do they get an edge? There's a lot of things that we just don't understand. A lot of things that when we do understand, makes us somewhat less than absolutely thrilled. I don't know, guys. Harold, I follow that with the collapse of the three. Yeah. Well, if I was president, I would tell Xi Jinping, I got some cruise missiles on them, and then got 3 gorgeous dam written right on the surface. Well, allegedly, Taiwan's got that, but not with a nuke. Oh, yeah, mine would have a nuke on it. If I was president of the United States, I said, look, you cross this line, bye-bye 3 gorges. Anyway, but, our current fearless leader, he leaves everybody behind in Haiti and Afghanistan. I don't know, guys. Things scare me. I want to try to get a 4th lithium battery for air conditioning weather. Oh, Lord. All righty. Yeah, I'd stay away from lithium ion batteries. These other lithium architectures aren't quite as bad. Hopefully they'll come out with solid state batteries real soon. They're not as prone to that kind of stuff. But thermal runaway of lithium ion batteries is very serious. Very serious. So the mayhem we may see on our own streets and our own communities, these guys, they've already got the critical infrastructure targeted with hackers, with kinetic attack people, this and that. But they got way more people over here than they need for that. What are they going to be doing? It's not going to be pretty. Just the power grid alone is going to be horrendous. Water supply, horrendous. But you're going to lose the water supply if you lose the power grid. You're going to lose communications, banking. There'll be, fuel that's pumped by water. Your computers are about fuel, electricity, excuse me. Your banks. Does your bank account run without electricity? Does the internet run without electricity? What percentage of your purchases go through the internet? And if you're not purchasing through the internet, what about the stores that you're going to? All their cash registers, everything in the system, that's all electric today. It used to be a point in time, remember when they tapped on keys and they'd pull a handle when somebody made a purchase and it would go ching. Remember cha-ching? Yeah, those old manual systems. Cha-ching, we made money. Cha-ching, angel won its wings. Cha-ching, remember that? Oh, yeah, the good old days. The good old days. No house payment. You might have to make a house payment, but, they probably still have a way to come get it later. They probably love that. Oh, you missed all your house payments. Now the banks get it all. See, the so-called elite structure is not just government. It's the big guys, the buddies of the House of Klaus. Oh, yeah. The ones that are kicking all the ladders out so nobody else can get where they're at. That is not capitalism. That is crony corporatism. Because the premise of capitalism is competition. And what they're doing is getting in bed with the government to eliminate competition. Yeah. I'm waiting for a flex fuel plug-in hybrid car to come out. Let them come. Okay, Matt. Hi, Lisa. So, guys, we're in a pickle. I mean, I've talked about solutions and how we got to get people love freedom, but we may have to go through a hard, horrendous, catastrophic time before we can get there. What I've said in the past is our mission is to survive the it hits the fan, to stand up afterwards, shake the dust off, and build a better world. But you have to have a vision for that better world. And you got to be able to communicate it. The love of freedom and opportunity, those are keys. Those are keys for that. A lot of people, it's faith. General Sar, hi, Greg, Rodney. Hey, General Sar, how you doing? It's his show. Let him roll with it. Yeah, I'm gonna get onto the transmission a little bit. I'm trying to cover the morning. I cover the new stuff first, and I'll talk personal later because we got people that come in here in the morning with their coffee. This is my last coffee from Love's Truck Stop. I just got home over an hour ago, guys. That's 2 hours now because we've been online here for about almost an hour. Jeez. Anyway, guys, yeah, my last Green Greg's video on Escaping Planet Houston 2.0 only got 500 views. People don't want to hear that, apparently. So I'll talk about it then. We will talk about it. I just want to cover the new stuff first. So, we've been nearly an hour, so I'll get into it in a minute. Niger is kicking the United States out. Niger, Niger, who cares? That's Niger. Well, that happens to be one of the chief sources for uranium in the world. Remember that yellow kick stuff that people were worried Saddam had? Apparently he didn't have it, or he got rid of it. I think he had it and got rid of it, but along with some other stuff. We went to war against Saddam over allegations that he got Nigerian yellow cake. And so we got an air base over there that's mostly a drone base. And apparently Biden really wasn't doing things that was too favorable for Niger, and China and Russia started stepping in and offering deals that were, Niger thought would look pretty good to them. Well, the United States coming back around says, well, you shouldn't do business with those guys. It might not be good for you. You know what they told the United States? Get the heck out of here. Bye. Be gone. So apparently we're about to evacuate and give the Russians a big base over there. So much for President Taterhead's anti-Russia stand, huh? To deal with other countries, we got to look at the idea of value proposition. What value is it to them other than we won't bully you or sanction you? We've got to come up with better terms for other nations to deal with them. Again, we need to be able to see things as they see them. Put on the rose-colored glasses. If you want to be a diplomat, and that's what we're missing, is diplomats and statesmen. You got to cut a deal that's worth something to the other side. If your whole objective is just to boss them and push them around, they might decide they don't like your currency and form an organization called BRICS to take down your dollar. Well, that's what's happening. The United States is in a world of hurt. And, we're not going to come back to where we've been, but we could come back to another place and be still strong and do good and be prosperous in the future. But, the system we're in is going to break. The reason we could come back and be strong and prosperous is, one, the geographics I mentioned, and two, if we can reignite the love of freedom. That includes freedom of speech, by the way. It includes those things that are codified in the Bill of Rights. And what the Bill of Rights themselves tell us, and the Constitution, the Founding Fathers are, they almost didn't do that because they were afraid that people would, this is the only rights you got. Your rights are far bigger. This is just a codification of some of them, just so you'll understand this. That's really what they were telling us. The rights belong to the people. This is just a codified. But now it's taken it. These are the only rights you got, and then they don't really mean what they say, and we can still trample on them or run over them and sweep them away. Oh yeah, tyranny hates freedom, does it not? Well, I agree. America shouldn't have all these bases around the world, but and that's what's going to happen. But but the whole point is that we're not dealing with other countries the way we should, especially in our own hemisphere. China's making huge inroads in Africa and into South America, Central America, and Mexico. Yeah, Mexico wants to be a BRICS nation. Mexico's our biggest trading partner. We need to we need a president just sit down, the president of Mexico. But Mexico they're dealing with the drug problem as we are. I mean, the cartels just about run the nation. They don't know what to do down there because of it. We need a president and some statesmen who can sit down with the leaders in Mexico and cut a new equal some propositions that have value to both sides, that don't bring drugs and human trafficking across the border in either direction. I'm getting word that there are young people taken from Americans south of the border. That's a huge trade. That's something That's something I got from people in Texas when I was down there in my last trip. Do you hear that on the news? I don't know. That's just something I'm hearing, be it true or not. Can you rule it out? They can bring all this stuff north. What could you take south? All right, so somebody saying something, somebody else upset. They saw I say how well I've actually solely been watching Swivel News. TBH, what's TBH mean? Lisa Lou, Lisa Lou? What is TBH? I don't know. Defund the swamp. Amen. Defund the swamp. What value proposition do they provide to the American people? This isn't just something that needs to be dealt with overseas, right here at home. What true value proposition do they offer to the people here? What is the value proposition? Those bony-nosed elites who like to look down their nose at the deplorables in Flowerland. They see themselves as the owners, and they see us as useless eaters. A lot of people are banking on this whole idea, well, they'll put us all on living wages and it'll be wonderful. Yeah, once they got you shackled to that, you got no freedom. Then you are just a useless eater. Oh, yeah. And I showed you guys a survey which says that they think that we're using up too much of their resources. Yeah, these people want to fly all over the world in the private jets, eat caviar, steaks, and tell you to eat the bugs and live in a 15-minute city, ride your little tricycle around. Oh, yeah. So anyway, we still have many ways of voting. There's the polls. It's how we vote economically, too. How do you spend this thing? How do you spend it? Because they get their power. They derive their power from the people in Flowerland, unless you make yourself powerless. Suddenly, all these you get come straight from them, because now you're on their dole. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I don't know, guys. What I know. Like I say, I'm just some poor dumb rocket scientist. What I know. Yeah, well, they've appointed themselves, New Days. They've appointed themselves because we've allowed them to get away with too much stuff for too long. It's time to say, you're out of kilter. Problem is, the courts are supposed to have been one of the checks and balances against this stuff. Even our founding fathers, they thought this experiment in freedom would go awry over time because they understood human nature and they knew how graft and corruption would grow, how it would metastasize, and indeed it has. That's the problem with having ginormous. There you go, Tiffany. Tyson, shutting down factories and hiring illegal aliens in droves. In droves. So, what is that? So, wow, lots of topics. We've been going about an hour now, almost. Yeah, I got some other topics I want to talk about. Maybe I'll save them for another video. Maybe I'll do them on, should I do them here, do them over Green Greg's? I don't know, guys. I had some other stuff I wanted to talk about, but oh yeah, let's talk about lab leaks. I have to pull up an article on this. I saw an article talking about thousands of lab leaks from our secure labs here in the United States. And this article said, well, maybe we shouldn't let them play with such deadly bugs. Have I not been saying that? Have I not been citing guys like this who warned us about that? Astronomer Royal of Great Britain, Sir Martin Rees, way back. Yep, we do. What kind of bugs they play with? Stuff that's 100% fatal in just a few days? Derivatives of the bug? They've already developed it. We know this. It's in the lab. They got one over there in the same place that some people think the other one got out of. Don't that make you feel nice and cozy feeling? Just, isn't it wonderful what they're developing over there at that place that let something else get loose? I don't know, guys. I agree with that, Larry. Let them take care of themselves. That was one of the other things I was going to talk about. Those are going to be one of my other topics. So, yeah, we're broke, guys. You don't know them. Hey, thank you. I pulled into the chat. I'll go back later and catch up on the first part. Salute. You don't know me, Mom. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Amen. All right. Very good. Cool. All righty, folks. So, all right. Larry Smith brought it up. So it was one of the topics I was going to get into. This whole thing in Europe. The European countries are talking about putting boots on the ground into Ukraine. And Russia's just come out and said, look, France, if you do this, you're a target. We're going to target your cities. We'll target this, that, and the other. You're a target. And they might just mean it. They could be on the precipice of a nuclear war over there. And it could drag, because we got that Article 5, it could drag us into it. One country could do something. It gets us drug into it. Just, French President Macron being hard to pronounce it. I think macaroni is more fitting for him. He is a protege of the House of Klaus. Whatever. He's a student of House of Klaus. So he's as is Trudeau and quite a few others, including Putin, believe it or not. So Europe has got a bigger gross net domestic product than America. They got more people than America. We pulled them out of 2 world wars, and we kept peace over there through the duration of the Cold War. From our own treasury, a lot of our own treasury, and the blood, sweat, and tears of our young men and women. A lot of them were planted there. There's a big graveyard in Normandy case in point. So the whole point is that Europe needs, I mean, it's time Europe take care of their own. You know, here's how it could work. A lot of Europeans says, well, if Russia gets through Ukraine, are just going to keep coming. Then why in the world not just sit down and negotiate a peace right now? Because Ukraine is not going to last. Why not say, okay, Russia, your complaint was the Donbass region, that the Donbass didn't want to be part of Ukraine, and they were being attacked by Ukraine for wanting to be separate. And West has said, well, look, Russia invaded Ukraine. Well, at first they were trying to theoretically protect the Donbass. I think they did have bigger plans, like I said all along, to fill in those gaps, which all the Russians throughout history have tried to fill in to stop invasion in their territory. Into their territory, which strategically makes sense, but it requires them to possess a lot of peoples who aren't their own people, to possess and oppress people in nations like Poland and Romania. Now, Romania is building a big NATO base. It actually started before the incursion into Ukraine. Now, suddenly, Russia is challenging this NATO base. Like, it's a big problem for them. They might do something about it. Of course, they want to take Romania. But if you get a peace treaty, then and say, hey, NATO, Ukraine does not go in NATO. Donbass is Russian, but stop right here. That does give Ukraine some breathing time. Oh, it might give Russia time to rebuild, but so does Ukraine. And Ukraine is still the buffer for those European states. So why don't European states see that? They still got Ukraine as a buffer if they get that treaty, and let Russia have what they got. So here, draw the line where the line's at today. Putin acts like he might accept that. I don't. But look at all the losses on each side. Stop the killing. Stop the war. And then oh, wow, New Days. I hadn't heard that one. Wow. So, guys, that war ought to be stopped. It ought to be stopped. We have driven the bear into the lap of the dragon. We could have made a peace treaty with Russia way back before all that started. I was actually calling for that. And in order to align Russia not to go into the lap of the dragon. Because the dragon is the biggest threat to the bear in the long term. And they know it. But anyway. What are you hearing now, Arthur? Yeah, it's just growing. It's growing. Guys, it's either that or World War III. And we still have those at Article 5 stuff. And we're liable to get drug into it. So why not say, look, cut it off right here. Cut it off now. Stop the conflict. If we're just throwing money over there, we're not stopping anything. We're just making the other side matter. Now, you might let them think you're going to do that as leverage. I mean, you can't go into negotiation without leverage. Never negotiate from the point of weakness. But that we don't have strength for long. And once Ukraine's on over, there's no negotiation. Unless Romania becomes a line and Poland, Lithuania, Russia can go through the Baltic nations like a hot knife through warm butter. So it's time to bring this stuff to an end. Chuck Norris comes out of retirement. Problem solved. Problem solved. Well, I don't know. Oh, Chucky Norris is his joints are a little creaky. He might have a hard time running at full gallop, but 2 M60s, one under each arm. Those are crew-served weapons, by the way. He always makes them like little pea shooters. Standing out in the open, mowing down, hidden forces. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Only in Hollywood. So no need. They need conflict to fuel their sickness. Ooh. Northern girls got some wisdom there. Ah, Lord Dragon the Red, salute to you. Thank you. Notice, avoid certain Houston area transmission builders that donate ungodly driving expenses fees. Oh my God, don't I know that, to their entertainment center. Oh, well, I'm going to take this guy on some fashion. Guaranteed. And it's about time to switch topics. I was going to talk about robotics and some other stuff. I believe we've been on here an hour. I can shove that topic into a future discussion here. We've been on here, let's see, 65 minutes. So, okay. Lord Dragon, thank you, sir. That's a good segue. We'll switch over to that. All right, what's happening with me? You know, I ran into a very questionable enterprise that was listed to be in Spring, Texas. You go to their address in Spring, Texas, they're not there. Well, they got another little shop down in Houston with no name on it. Oh, yeah. Big story there. Well, guys, as y'all know, they claimed to have done all this work on my transmission, and when I took that thing out of my van, I discovered sawdust in it. Metal, lots of metal in the pan. Oh, yeah. I had gotten another transmission from a local yard here. It was supposed to have been a 99, which would have been just fine. But what they gave me was a 95 transmission. They didn't give me the one that I asked for. That was a bogus trip for me. It cost me money going down there and back. Had a wrong transmission. The guy who explained all that to me, who was extremely informative, offered me, I said, hey, could you do this? What would it take for you to fix it? Yeah, and he gave me a good deal for working on the guts of the transmission. Unfortunately, I didn't take the whole vehicle to him. I thought I'd save money by taking the transmission out, taking it to him, and then reinstalling it. But what happened with my original van is it failed at the tail section of the transmission initially. That's really where the failure was. And so why did that other shop go inside the valve body, place in a broken spring, disconnect the pressure transducer, have a broken connector in there, a cut cable in there? That transmission would not have worked if that stuff was functional from the get-go. I mean, I couldn't be driving back and forth across country as many times as I did in that vehicle if it was that way to start with. Now, according to the transmission shop I just went to today, he said they had no reason to do that at all, to be in that part of the transmission where the valve body was. Oh, somebody went in and made some changes, apparently. Put stuff in there, did things. Oh, I got to do a special video on this, guys. So, I actually hired a mobile mechanic in Houston. Well, I didn't pay him wages, but I gave him some money to get a transmission. And he claims, well, he filed a police report that his brother's vehicle got stolen, and he said that was the day he was going to fix my transmission, and he had all those tools and that transmission in the truck. Was that just bad luck? I don't know. I got to do some investigation on it. I'll do some more investigation there. Then there was a bad transmission from the junkyard. I mean, it's just been one thing after another, after another, after another. So this guy, now the guy that was in Houston that put all the guts in, he did good work. We went over there, saw his work, everything was clean. He showed us all the problems. There was nothing, not a single item in my transmission that was new. He just put a different tail section on. Well, now I found out, not before last, that the real root cause problem was a bad universal joint in the drive shaft that vibrated into that tail section and wallowed things out and caused issues there. Probably broke the seal out, fluid went out, and everything went to heck in the handbasket. Anyway, so once we put everything together, I'm driving, trying to get out. You saw my video, Escaping Planet Houston 2.0. I didn't get a whole lot further. I made it to Jennings, I made it to Jennings, Louisiana. Jennings. And I discovered, oh, my belts are slipping. This ain't right. What's going on? Look underneath it. Lots of fluid. I got looking real hard. Oh, this is coming out right here. First, I thought it was from the speed system. I got looking. No, it's coming up in the very tail, at the aft seal of the tail. In fact, that whole seal blew out. And even more so, there was a sleeve that goes up inside the transmission that got pulled out too. We tried to put another seal over it, another mobile mechanic iron, and he couldn't get it over that because that seal should have been up inside the transmission. It had come out. It was dislodged. It done it because of the vibration. He did discover the U-joint base. So I don't have the tools and stuff to deal with this. And I said, well, who do you recommend? He recommended this one shop over in Lafayette. Now we got something in there. So I managed to limp into Lafayette with that and a lot of transmission fluid. So I left into Lafayette. I taught the guy, all his racks were full. He was full up. But that guy fixed the transmission. He took the guts the good guy put into the tail section of the transmission I'd had and put it in a new tail section for me. And got another drive because the yoke on the drive shaft it got messed up with all that vibration too. Put in, got two new universals for drive shaft. Another yoke they had to cut. That's what goes up inside the transmission part of the drive shaft. Had to cut it off for it to fit. Got it machined down. They did all that for $500. Now that's money. It's hurt me hard, but for getting work like that done, they worked on a good part of the day for that price, including he outsourced the drive shaft to another shop. That was a pretty darn good deal, and they did it today. So, that's A Ball is the name of the shop in Lafayette. Great shop. And a guy in Spring that's got a good shop is David's Dex. I'll come out with all that in another video when I go to product pops. I did run into two really good shops, and I got some mobile mechanics that I will recommend in the Spring and Houston area. I got some good. I've run into some, and the other guy. I know now 3 good mobile mechanics and 2 good transmission shops, and I know a terrible transmission shop. So, oh yeah. I drove 760 miles without a single safety incident. Driving with when they tried to steal my catalytic converter, they knocked a hole, they tried to push the pipe back. Now they cut through one of the pipes on my catalytic converter while it was in the bad shop. And the muffler, they punched it and walled it out. Now my buddy, who was also a victim of the same bad shop I was, he was there. He worked hours and hours volunteer helping me out. Him and a buddy. I said, that's 2 good mobile mechanics. Take the transmission out, put it in, did it in his garage. But he wasn't really a welder. He tried to weld, and I think the weld he put around the catalytic converter pipe worked, but the muffler, he just had a wire welder, and there's a big walled out hole. He tried with a wire welder. That's extremely. If you're not an expert welder, he's not a welder per se, but he did the best he could. But I didn't get far out of Houston before all that come loose, and it started whoa, 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 whoa. It's loud. So I drove 760 miles with a loud muffler, and somewhere back here is my tag that I should have put on that. So I didn't have a tag on it. I forgot to take that down there. The little sticker that goes on the tag. Somewhere back here. Let's see. One of these. Nope, that's some other paperwork. Anyway, I got the tag I should have put on the truck. So I drove with no tag, a really loud muffler, all the way from Spring, Texas, down into Houston, all the way up almost to Tennessee and North Alabama. And I didn't get pulled over. Lucky me for that. No safety in spite of having a crippled vehicle, smoking, choking, I didn't get pulled over. No safety incidents. Get home, trying to lug my baggage up the steps, got caught, tripped, and I fell into a cabinet with handles on it. And the worst damage is on my arm. Made a big hole in it. Still a little blood stain there. Well, that's what I did when I got home. 1, 2, 3, 4 wounds where I hit that cabinet. Made a big one there. It was red stuff was everywhere. I shall survive, though. That will heal. Any sill that is very old, even if it's new but never protected from the elements, can start. Oh, yeah, yeah. But the whole thing that the U-joint was actually bad, and it was vibrating, and I could see the damage on it. It caused the original failure. Now, they knew that the tail section was bad. They never did anything for the drive shaft, although they claimed to have gave it a balance, to have it balanced. They charged me an extra fee. Oh, we got to balance this drive shaft, but they never discovered the real root source problem. They had the whole vehicle. They should have known that right off the bat. A good transmission shop would have diagnosed that instantly. But that's where the thing failed at. And the second shop, which I had the vehicle at, they only worked on the tail section. I said, this is the problem right here. And I said, there was any reason for these guys to go into the valve bite? No. Disappointed with AP sponsors like Opius have corrupted it. What's AP and Opius? I don't know what Opus. I don't know what AP is. It a prepper channel? Opus, kept his opinion, sponsored for people. I don't know what you're talking about, Lord. Anyway, just got all my food money to fix my car. Thank God for friends that care. Amen, Angela. Friends, that's what matters most. My youngest son is a jack of all trades, does good car work. He's rebuilt several, including his race car. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. Where were you going to church after you smashed your arm? American Prepper. Which channel is American? Alaska Prepper. Alaska Prepper seemed like a nice guy. I don't know, guys. You think he's? Yeah. Well, maybe that's why they don't get demonetized on this platform. He toes that line with them. I don't know. I think he believes that. Well, that's what you hear if you listen to the media. You hear that in spades, just tons of it. So, Opus is a battery generator. Opus, a battery generator. Is that one of those things they call a generator, which is just a battery with a power distribution box on it? I hate it when they call those things generators. They're not generators. The generator is the thing that's running on gasoline or propane or taking electricity from the sun. It's the panels. That's where your generation takes place. It's not in some box with a battery. It's not a generator. That's a misnomer to call those things generators. Ray seemed like a really nice guy. Alaska Prepper. And Nate's a nice guy. I don't know what fault Nate. He's just, we don't agree on every topic, and that's okay. We can't agree with everybody on everything. Sometimes we just gotta, I was one guy in my family that got along with the different sides of the family that would fight and quarrel because I could see good, and I knew each side had shortcomings. I knew that, but I was able to look around them and over them because I realized there was good in them too. And I think sometimes we got to do that. If there's good, and some people ain't got no good in them. That first transmission shop I went to, I failed to see any good in that enterprise. Anybody, my mountain bolts on my engine and transmission were loose, just finger tight. Why? Why was there wood shavings in my transmission? How about that? I know darn well my transmission, the valve bite on it, didn't cross the United States of America so many times before with that in it. Now my vehicle has completed its sixth trip across the United States of America, sans 2 states, with the exception of California and Georgia. We're talking Alabama to Arizona Arizona to Alabama, Alabama to Arizona, back and forth. Yeah, it's done it 6 times. It made it for 5.5 trips. It did not do that with wood in there. No, no sawdust. It didn't do that with a bearing missing in the tail section. Was where somebody put a washer in there. I don't know. Lots of strange stuff. So I'm not gonna make it a point to pick on other channels there. It's not, I'll let everybody stand on their own. Unless they just, if somebody asks me my opinion about something, I may opine on it. When you put up your solar out in Arizona, you should film and work this through. Well, I'll probably have to go through a really cheap system, just enough to run my computers, hopefully a little refrigerator, maybe a freezer. It's going to have to be something cheap. I may not even be able to do it for a while. I thought I had the resources to do that kind of stuff at one time, maybe a well. I can't do it now. I'll be lucky to buy gas to get out there. I may have to hitchhike. It's been, yeah, I've ran too many obstacles. Ever see the cannibal prepper? Is there somebody called that, Larry? Are you serious? Or are you picking on somebody? Who are you calling a cannibal prepper? Is there a channel called that? Oh my gosh, I hope not. Larry, are you serious, man? You're just picking at somebody, right? You're picking at Canadian prepper. Canadian prepper's a good guy. He actually sent me some gifts. He's just, everybody's got their own thing. He has a cookbook on how to serve humans. Oh, so you're serious? There's somebody called that? Yeah. Greg, through all you have been through, you have stuck the truth. I try to. Guys, if I wanted to, somebody, all you do is provide stuff to make money, One, there is, what my income is? This last, it's just a few $100, off of everything I promote and super chats and ad. It's like nothing. It's very small. Very small. If I wanted to make money, I know how to make money on something. There's a product I could promote and I'd make a ton of money on. All my money problems would be gone if I just promote this one product. It's got to do with the topic that's most dear to my channel. I could promote that better than anyone if I chose to do it, because what's been the premise of my channel? Main premise, worry about the power grid. I chaired 2 power grid defense conferences. I'm a member of 2 power grid defense committees. There's one product I could promote that has a commission of like $200 a sale. Oh, and I could sell them like hotcakes. Something that says it protect your home from 42 EMPs. I don't believe it'll save you for anything. I consider it snake oil. There's no way I'm going to promote that product. So for all those that want to throw that kind of stuff at me, I know how to make a ton of money here, and I don't do it because I don't believe in it. Yikes. Anyway. CCCP prepper, everybody starves. That's what communism makes everybody equal. Y'all get to starve equally. That's been a lot of communist countries. You know what I say? Look at Venezuela. Venezuela's got more petroleum than anybody. And look what kind of condition that country's in today. Horrible. Why? You don't have economic freedom there. You don't have any kind of freedom. Then you take a country like Singapore. At least they got economic freedom. There's no natural resources. A big city on the tip of a little peninsula. They're rich. Rich. But you can find opportunity there. You see the difference? It is zip. Resources? Nothing. No resources. Boom. What's the difference? Economic freedom. Well, I do believe in economic freedom and personal freedom. Both. Flowers on my indoor I can't pronounce that. Yeah, some flowers on. Okay. Hey, wheelchair user. Salute to you. 5 pounds. Are you going to put a garden in Arizona this year? I got to do something. I don't know. It's going to be tough because I got an area cleared out for a big garden. But I got to bring stuff to it because it's just clay. You know, I got to enrich the soil. I got to have some compost in there, some worm castings. So it's going to take me some doing to get it going. If I can get out there and get started soon enough, it depends on me getting out there, what I can carry out there. Like I said, I'm going to struggle. You know, I'm going to have to sell stuff here. It's going to be a challenge just to be able to take anything out there. You know, if I have breakdowns going out there, it can be devastating. So one thing I'm going to do, well, it is cold. The growing season will be a little shorter. It's agriculture zone there is 7B. Here it's 7A. It's on the borderline between 7A and B. We're barely 7A here. So the growing zone is about the same. It's actually south of where I'm at. So the amount of sunlight you get is actually a little better because it's south and it's higher. So it's actually more sunlight. But it's colder because it's higher. On average, Snowflake, Arizona is colder than right here. I think tonight, we're both getting about 33 degrees. So it's about equal tonight. But in average, Snowflake, Arizona is colder than here. And I'm almost to Tennessee. You go down to Houston, man, it was hot the whole time I was down in Houston. But I didn't know I was going to be gone so long. Greg bought some magic. Yeah, I need some magic money tree seeds planting in Arizona. I do have some castor bean seeds from my good friend Jason Avery. Bring Country Agroforestry. There's a castor seed. You know, they gotta be careful with that castor stuff. It can get you. All righty. Yeah. I have a 96 RV that got damaged in the latest storm, needs torn down and item salvage. Could be something. Yeah, well, I might could use some salvage items from something like that to build my bus as a little roving home. Now, I've been living out of that van in Arizona for many months, and I've rescued it. And hopefully it will be my home again while I complete my tiny home out there for a while. I plan to use my bus initially as a U-Haul moving van to get my stuff out there. So I'm not planning to outfit it at first. But that said, in time, you know, that may be a living arrangement for me too. Ricin, yeah, absolutely. So what I'm really thinking, a patio, mini garden. Yeah, if you can't grow anywhere else, grow a patio. Grow in your windowsill. Put lights in your closet. You know, you can grow stuff anywhere if you're determined. If you found any native artifacts on your property, I'm not going to talk about that, Arthur. So, there's some topics that get you in trouble. So, there is a lot of things to take into consideration, my friends. There is now there's just colorful rocks. That's all I got there. No, not gem quality, just not a lot of nice colorful rocks. That's all I got. Little bitty pieces of petrified wood. That's it. In the basement, yeah, you can grow in the basement. Slide out pump, DC exhaust fans, propane water. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, you know, I got a couple of gas generators. That may have to do me at first. I'm gonna have to, you know, draw water. There's some other sources I can get water from if I need to. Got a bell tent and a good wood stove. I got a wood stove. I just got to get it put in. I got the frame up and the roof for my building. I got one wall. It's got the exterior on. I got enough stuff to finish the exterior. The whole question of putting insulation and wiring and sheetrock inside, I don't know. I used to think I could cover that, but I got to figure it out. It's going to have to come piece by piece. Maybe I'll get lucky. Things will ease up on me. I've been having tough luck lately, lots of it. But it's just part of life. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. They say, well, it's that way in life too. They say it happens. It does happen. Things happen. The refrigerator I want to keep. I got a refrigerator here. It's, a lot of people on solar, they only get these really expensive, low energy devices, like appliances. I can't afford those. I gotta use what I got. So that'll be interesting. Ho, ho, ho. Grow, grow, grow. There you go, all the sun. So I played a game called Throw a Frozen Turkey in a Deep Fryer from 10 foot away. Yeah, that can get a mite energetic. No kidding. Don't forget to water your plants. Well, I'm going to set up to collect rainwater. At least I got a roof. If I got nothing else, if I can put a gutter on it and take some of my rain barrels out there, or I got a big 1,200 gallon container here. Somebody here locally wanted me to sell it to them for next to nothing. It's like, you kidding me? Water containers cost a buck a gallon out there. I'll take it. I'm going to sell to you this one for a couple $100, and I'm going to go spend $1,000 to get the same thing out there. I don't think so. If I can get it out there, I don't know if I can get it out there. Having vehicles don't mean you can transport stuff, as I'm saying. It means you got a prospect for transporting stuff. It's a gamble. Anything you put on the highway these days, it's a gamble. And then again, there's this thing called the cost of fuel. That's pretty high too. So I just got to very carefully try to manage what we got left here. Hopefully put a few things together, and maybe I can squeeze through this. But I got to sell this place. I got to sell this place fast, or I'm going to be sunk. So I got to refocus on that a lot. Next channel, Guerrilla Gardening Greg. That's a good one. All alliteration. Allison always alliterates. Spring Gregs, Glaffy Gregs. Product Papas. Swivel Head News was an exception, but we always talk about being swivel heads, right? So that's my one that don't alliterate. Wheelchair user, salute to you. What about putting a wood stove in your van? Well, I tried one of those little My Buddy heaters, and it ran me out. Everybody said, get My Buddy heater. I had a test. I turned that thing on, and it ran me out instantly. It was too much. Fumes. Woo, couldn't handle it. But I got a friend that's got a bigger one in his RV, and it seems to be doing quite fine. I've finally, after several months of trial and error, have come up with ways to keep the van warm for the most part. I've got a major sleeping bag that's good for 25 degrees below zero now. And I've got that's a big help. I was freezing myself to death out there in that desert. I was cold, bone cold. I even got sick. So I've got a lot of trial and error. I'm going to change some things in that van if I get a chance. That's all time and money too. But I think one thing I ought to do is create another channel just talking about van life or van bus, because I'll be doing some of that off and on. Winter well nomad stove. Well, yeah, I've seen some little bitty stoves. I knew a guy that had a tiny little stove to heat a big bus. So I don't know what size you'd want for a van, but I'd have to knock a hole in the roof, or somewhere to vent it out. Yeah, DC vents. So one thing I'll talk about if I do a van show is alternate uses for these nice bottles of Arizona tea. Let me just say this. If you're at a service station and you find a full bottle of Arizona tea in the trash, don't drink it. Don't drink it. If it's in the trash, leave it. I will discuss things like uses of when you're living a nomad life, and traveling across country, you gotta come up with some solutions to everyday things. Believe me, I have done that. Lots of solutions. And a lot of trial and error. So maybe I need to do a channel just on that. At least I wouldn't have to be researching news. I'd just talk about what I'm doing. That might be an easy channel to do. Might be real popular. Yeah. So, Arthur, never recover a full pretty bottle of Arizona tea from a garbage of a convenience store or a gas station and think you want to do. I was that golden tea might be something else. Eat the yellow snow in Arizona. There you go. Or Arizona tea. I used a Tim Horton coffee cup. There you go. Well, hey, for you ladies, those big, large Hardee's drink cups, they got a big opening. Just make sure you don't spill it. Yeah, this is my remaining of my coffee. The last of my Love's truck stop. I love Love's. They got showers at Love's. And when I was in Arizona, that's where I'd go. Love's. I'd drive 50, 60 miles to the nearest Love's gas station and take a shower. At least they had nice showers. Propane stove with oven. Getting the trucker buzz. Now, I've slept at the truck. If y'all remember, I would stop at the Love truck stops and sleep overnight. I finally got me a Love's card so that I can get 10 cents off a gallon of gas I get there. Well, I don't know why I didn't do that earlier. I thought it was complex to get that set up. It really isn't. So, you know, I should have done that a long time ago. But I go out of my ways to go to the Love truck stops. And there's probably some other truck stops that are just as good, but they do carry these Arizona teas. Got a nice big opening. Makes it easy to drink tea. This is tea. Arizona tea. Yeah, Arizona, guys. Arizona green tea. That's what I'm drinking. But if you find this bottle laying around, be wary. Make sure you get it off the store shelf. As I got this one. But save the bottle. Just make sure you know what's what. CDD, I did. It will be like, I haven't went back and checked the status. I applied on the 6th of this month. I think it may be what, June, July before I help me get anything. Enough solder to run the oven. How much solder you got, David? I got a little 100-watt panel on top of my van that's got one of the stupid control. It's got a 12-volt battery. The battery's got a lot of juice, but the stupid little controller from I put in there from Harbor Freight is junk. I need a better controller. And I wound up using the battery head in there and my other and Vanna White. I bought Vanna White to set up to be the van I lived in, but I had some issues with it. I found what I thought was a really good deal in this other van, and it already had power plug in the side, more outlets internal. And so that's the one I actually chose to live in, go back and forth. And it was okay until I had the transmission problem, which was, and I would have been fine had not ran into a shyster shop. That's what did me big time. It really did a lot of damage to me financially. Those guys messed me up bad. And at first, they claim, oh, yeah, this would be quick, easy, $300, you'll be in and out in a day. And they kept escalating things. So, yeah, lesson learned. I'll go more into that in the future. That's a topic for Product Papas. I just got to bell bucket when you're in a boat, ladies. Oh, there's ways. Well, when you're on a mobile vehicle, you got to be careful what you use. You got to make sure it ain't going to spill, or you might be wearing it, or in the floorboard. You don't want none of that. No, none of that. I've got 600 watts of panels, 40 amps controller, 24 volts. Okay. All right, Dave, what all can you run on that? 1600 watts. I'll have to add it up. I'm going to have to do that. You know, what you got to do is whatever your appliances are, you figure what's the duty cycle on them, and which is how much they run, stuff like that. And then what can you actually attach? You don't run everything all the time. And when you're doing solar, you don't want to run two power consumers, big ones at the same time. There's a lot of little things you have to keep in mind because you got to balance the stuff out and you don't want to deplete your batteries, especially at nighttime. You don't have juice left to run a CPAP. Now, I do have a little Predator generator out there. That's actually an inverter that will run my CPAP in a tiny little 400 watt heater. That's not enough to keep the frost out of inside the windows in Snowflake, Arizona in the fall. You'll still get frost growing on the inside of your windows running that heater, but it sure beats not having it. That's been what I did with that Predator. As long as I got gas, I can run the Predator, and I'm there where I can run it. Now I wouldn't drag that out and just traveling back and forth across the country and set it out in a parking lot and go to sleep inside because somebody will grab it and go off with it. But from a use on my property, it works. For traveling back and forth, yeah, you need something else. That's where you need a portable heat source. Sun King Solar Home 120 solar light setup. Now I built a solar heater out here for my greenhouses to heat water, and that thing makes some real hot water. I took PICS, those big PICS tubes. I think they're about that big around. What's that? Inch and a half. Inch and a half. I forgot what size they were. Those things are pretty stiff if you really want to coil them up tight. In order to coil them tight, you know how you normally have plastic stuff to bend it, you use a blow dryer. Well, these were too big for that. So I put my shop heater on my shoulder and heated those things up, pulled them around. I made water heaters for my aquaponics greenhouse. So I built solar hot water heaters. And the way I set it up where the sun would actually be the pump. No power is required. It will actually pump the water by expanding it. I'll have to do that on a video one day. I'll have to show how that's done, discuss it. I was going to do that with those, but I had hours and hours and hours of video I made in building those. It was so much I've just never had time to edit. Maybe one of these days when I'm out in Arizona and things slow down some for me, I will edit a lot of these videos. I'll edit something. I'll come up with a video and building my log barn here. I'll go back. I'll cover some of the things I did here, and I'll do some of the things I'll do. I'll do more homesteading content for Green Greg's channel, and that's more homesteading. I'm even thinking, my 40 acres, I can go around and build all these little bushcraft cup houses if I can find time. Just doing this new stuff though consumes a lot of time. Man, find a way to make that faster so I can focus on a few other things. Have a little fun. Yikes. And the news, bringing you guys news is more than a full-time job in and of itself. Button. What did New Day say? Okay, guys. So, I got here. I made it. The Escape from Planet Houston 2.0 wound up being a 2-day exercise. I had another failure. Got it fixed. Found the real roots causing my problem. And just further illustrated the mess I got into with that original Shyster shop, which I already knew. What I got to be careful of is to make sure I don't violate when I talk about them. What is this? I got to make sure I don't come in violation of what better glasses that. I don't know. I'll use these. Make sure I don't come in violation. I like these as well. Here's the ones I don't know. These are tinier. These look goofy. Oh, these are gonna wipe off too. Hang on. I got to make sure I don't violate 18 USC, or that squiggly line thing is 875. or 18 U.S.C. 875 sub C 2015, which is basically you can't defame somebody on the internet. But I think if you just showing what they did, how they're gonna can't harass or defame somebody. Yet some people are already defamed. I mean, there's already tons of bad reviews out there, tons of bad reviews. So it's too bad I didn't do the research up front. So, hey, Rodney, coffee time. Thank you, Rodney Milton. Salute to you. Appreciate that. Yeah. And it is, oh, it's 4:30 a.m. here. I need to turn in. It's been a long day for me. Got one last drop in here, and this Love's cup. Boy, I tell you, when you're traveling, when I go out, I have my carafe pre-cleaned, and I brew a whole pot of coffee and take it, go on the outbound trip. But I don't have any way out there to really maintain all that to bring it back. So I was getting coffee at Love's coming back. I like my tube heaters because I don't have to buy fuel or chop wood. John Bax, what are your tube heaters? You talking about the solar water? Yeah, I've had bad luck going to Houston. No kidding about that. At least when I drive my own personal owned vehicles out there. Tracy Broken Wings. It's yeah, people call each other jerks all the time on here, don't they? Yeah, I think it's got to rise to the occasion. Somebody's got to prove the point. But if you go out and do a video specifically to attack someone, which a lot of people do on here, and do it extensively, but there's some tradition for what I'm going to cover, and the news channels have done what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to show what it was. This is it. This is what happened. It's going to be a buyer beware kind of video. But a lot of these videos, they name the shops, they show where they're at. Yeah, there's news channels that go to a mechanic shop and they name the people, show you where it's at. They go through the whole thing. There's a lot of videos of that effect. So I think I'm a safe territory, but I just got to make sure I really substantiate it all. And be careful how I say it. So all that's got to go. The biggest problem is I got oodles of hours of video here. And my top priority is I'm losing money right here. Big time, just being here. I got to liquidate this place as fast as I can. So I got to put my number one focus on liquidating this property. It may be, I may have to wait till I'm in Arizona before I really got the time. I got to set up all this stuff. You're watching me over my laptop, my, not my laptop, my main computer, the drives, all the video stuff I got, and integrate this video. It's going to take some time, a lot of time. I'll do it. Greg, did you hear Steve Popper is going off YT to go on missionary work in India? Wow. You know, he's a big time Christian. You know, Steve Popper is a nice guy. He's a good guy. I like him. He's taking a huge risk. Look, he knows what he's getting. Steve knows what he's getting into. If he's doing it, it's because he feels pulled to this. He's doing it as a matter of faith. He knows what he's getting into. Steve is no dummy. He's an extremely intelligent guy. He's going to go off YouTube completely or just for a while? What? I haven't caught that. I've not been watching YouTube the last several days. I haven't watched anybody's video. People have been sending me videos. I have not had time to watch video. I read articles some, but I haven't been watching any video. Oh, what did Tiffany say? That 50% is off. 24 hour what, Tiffany? YT put me in a 24 timeout for saying, oh, wow, I could be in real trouble. No idea. Criminals ought to go to prison, being bad. Wow. Yeah, well, maybe he needs some prayers. Maybe we need to pray for Steve Popper. He's a good guy, real good guy, very smart, good-hearted. It's very careful what he says on YT, though. He's probably smarter than I am. I got a big mouth and Got red hair. I don't know when to shut up sometimes. Yeah, you get in trouble here. Can't really say what you really think, but still, you can get. I go out on ice. It's a little too thin sometimes, I guess. Oh, it's the Popper Report. Popper Report on YouTube. Now check him out. Go subscribe to him. So go in his chat sessions and tell him that Green Greg's, because that's how he knows me, sent you. Say, hey, Green Greg sent me. In fact, everybody should do that. Tomorrow, he puts a video up about 5 o'clock in the morning and another one later. He puts 2 videos up. I tried to emulate that for a little while. I just hadn't had time to keep up that pace. I got too many other things going. But putting 2 videos out a day, that's a ton of work. But he would focus on a special topic. That's one way to do it. And a lot of his topic is he just reviews what people send him, their comments. And it's a lot of just grocery shelf. What's on the grocery shelves? Popper Report and Popper Bible Studies. Yes, he's got a Bible study channel too. If you have the caption run, it'll say Steve Popper. Are you serious? Oh, yeah, his name's Popper. So that's terrible. Yeah, Popper's a drug. I'm sure he don't appreciate that. He's not into that kind of stuff. He's a very decent man. Very decent man. He's a very devout Christian. So he's traveled the world already doing this some on trips. He's taken a lot of trips to do that kind of work. So New Days, is he actually going to quit YouTube completely to go there, or is this just going to be for a period of time? Oh, yeah. Well, see, India's, at one time, Great Britain took over India. They colonized it. And what happened is when they left, India was demarcated. The Muslims mostly moved to Pakistan, and the Hindus mostly moved into India. There's still some Hindus in Pakistan. Now, at the time, there was East and West Pakistan, and India in the middle. That's why I joke about East and West Wokistan and Indians in the middle here in America, as if all of us in Flowerland are Indians. But they want to put us all in a reservation, seemingly. Yeah, so if you hear Chewy talk about he's from West Wokistan, Hillsborough maybe says West Wokistan because he's citing that I've said that in some videos in the past. So I would imagine a Hindu in the Muslim country would be in not the best situation. So that's the vid, Craig, from Steve. Thank you, Michelle, for that. I'll check that in a minute too. Let's see. For now, he is. Oh, it's been great. Oh, he is really totally leaving. He actually, now me, I don't make jack diddle on there. That's why I was considering following his method he showed. Steve makes good money on YouTube just from AdSense. AdSense alone. He don't do live sessions. There's no super chats. It's just AdSense. Now people can donate to him in the comment section. But he does very well on YouTube, or at least he did. Now they might have slapped him like they do some other things, so it may not be as good as it was. He had a full-time job as an accountant. He quit it to go full-time on YouTube. So well, a Christian faith, teaches that you're to spread the gospel with good news. So he's following his faith. So I can't, that's just who he is. But he is putting himself at risk. There's no doubt about it. Supermarket banks. What? Donate to supermarket banks. What do you mean by that? CDD, what do you mean by that? I don't use my time trying to understand religions. But to each their own. I've gone through similar phases. So let me check my email here. Yeah, I check my emails if I got any donations through my, not showing up through PayPal. I'll check PayPal directly. Ding, 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 ding. That's another way people can send. What? PayPal's not coming up. I am glitching on me. Michelle Young, thank you for the super chat through my website. Thank you, Michelle. Salute to you. And for another couple that you gave me recently, she's a good regular. She's a big time supporter, Michelle Young is. Have you heard that the Amish and Mennonites have their own banks? Can you blame them? Let's keep the adult language out of the channel here, guys. This is a family channel. No adult language. Tracy, he might, he might, but it is risky what he's doing, especially if he's going to the Muslim regions. And there's still some of that. Shoot, you just go to France. You want to reach out to the Muslims? Just go to France. They got Muslim regions too. Or Michigan. The Mennonite church here has enough food underground. Wow, that's good. Mennonites, I would think Amish do. And the Church of Latter-day Saints, they require storage of 1 year. In some areas, they actually do years. Sub to his channel. All right, Arthur, that's good. That's good. Let me do something. Where? Well, let's hope it's not a suicide mission, but it is risky. It is risky. I'm going to click on that link. Wow. It's been great. Thanks for all your support. Jeez. I will have to play that video later. Wow. He's one of the more popular channels among those of you who view my channel. So, okay, Arthur, well, be careful. Listen, I have worked for Muslims. I've had a Muslim Cuban mate. My next door neighbor is Muslim. There's a lot of good people. I tell you guys this. There's good people of every faith, color, creed, religion, from every town, village, shire, city, county, state, country, region around the world. Just don't forget that. Now, but there are people who take things to certain degrees from any source. And sometimes that's dangerous. I think that's enough said about that. But in some areas, it's rough. In some areas, you may have problems. I'm saying it charitably. But there are, just because you have a certain faith doesn't mean you're either good or bad. I've had people, if people come to you talking a lot about their faith before they try to get you into some deal, buyer beware. People use that to pull a sheepskin over your eyes where you'll think everything's okay, it's good. Look, this person's talking faith stuff. Oh, yeah, I can trust them. Shysters use that technique a lot. Be careful. Keep hearing crickets. Crickets on what? Everyone wants to die to go there? Some people might. Suicide's considered a sin. You're here for a reason. You got a mission to do. If it makes you hungry, Larry. Maybe it's a cricket comment. Eat the bugs. Oh, yeah, they're putting cricket powder in a lot of ingredients now. Did y'all know that? I saw the name for what they call it. They don't call it crickets. They got some other fancy name for it. So you won't just recognize it right off the bat. Allegedly, I don't know. So anyway, well, we've been on here now for 2 hours. It's almost 5 a.m. I have been up for a long time. Had a long trip today. Going through a lot of stuff. I'm kind of beat, and I got to set up some stuff where I can go to bed. My CPAP, which is still packed away. So, never been along with your bad jokes. Well, see, this is not a religious channel. I'll tolerate anyone of any faith, as long as you're respectful. That's all I ask. I do believe in a great. I will tell you, I do believe in a greater creator. That's enough said. I'm not here to push a particular faith, but we do pray because we're family. Family members pray for family members. Now, the one that's shutting down is 100 miles east of you, David. That's a shame. I buy candy with bugs in it. Well, there's a certain bug content allowed in all processed foods. Oh, yeah. In case you didn't know, there's a certain allowable bug content, and all this stuff on grocery store shelves. Tell you guys to grow your own food. Just look at the chemical list on the stuff. Oh, yeah. And what the food companies fight so they wouldn't have to list it? GMO content. They don't have to list it. They fought that. Vows is bringing chocolate ants for everybody. Isn't that so nice of him? He loves us so much. He's going to give you chocolate ants, chocolate crickets, grasshoppers. It's in all processed foods, Arthur G. Peanut butter, everything. Everything. There's a certain allowable content of bugs, hair, animal hair, rat feces. So supposedly it's cooked and sterilized. That's one thing you got to hope for. Anyway, yeah, probably several plants. I think it was more than one plant. I think you hear news about one or two. I think there's more than one plant that's shutting down. They bought, when I actually was in high school, when I got out of high school, I went to work. I went from working in high school for Kentucky Fried Chicken to a chicken plant, hanging live chickens before I went to work for a cotton mill. Hung live chickens for a whopping 3 days. Actually, 2 days and 2 hours. But I walked into the supervisor on the third day and says, "Hey, I just got a job offer over in Kendall Mills, the cotton mill. Thought I was going to have to work out a 2-week notice." He looked at me and says, "Will you finish the day?" Oh, I was 3 full days. I did finish the day. By the end of the day, I was halfway up the seniority roster out of 20 people. And people walk in there and they go, "I ain't doing this." And they just turn around and walk out. They did it for like an hour or less. And they would turn around and just walk. It was nasty, dirty, hot. It was unbelievable. That was the nastiest job. I'd rather dig ditches any day. Do you sleep? I'm going to try to catch a nap in a little bit. Tarantulas. So Tyson supplies KFC. All right, go boycott KFC there. Anyway, that plant belonged to Goldkist at the time. Tyson bought them out and shut it down. That plant had been there for generations. It actually was, my dad was a USDA government poultry inspector there. I mean, both my brothers had worked there. I mean, hanging live chickens was the nastiest job they had. Yeah, it will devastate the town. Yeah, you fry your Snicker bars. Not a bad idea. Think about this too. All those soda pop cans, what's been across them? I hear that, they get in the factory, rats running around, whatever, you don't know. Rats, roaches. Yeah, I don't take my sleep lying down, folks. I take it in a cup. Y'all know that by now. So, guys, our whole food system's at risk. You think they really care about you? That's why I tell you guys, grow your own food. I put links in a lot of my videos. I don't know if I'm going to do it tonight. I was going to do a fancy thumbnail. I don't know about tonight. It's late. It's really late. I've been up for a long time. It's 5 o'clock. And you dig deep enough, you'll find, oh, yeah, Flat Rock owns just about everything. That's a sad case of it. That's why I tell you guys, I keep telling you, vote with this. Ding, 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 ding. Buy local. Support your local artisan, your local mom and pop, as much as you can. I've been saying that for a long time. A long, long time. I've got tasty goats. There you go. Sweet black tea and 2 buttered toast. There you go. Alrighty, folks. Speaking of which, I think it's really time to go here. Buying sleep, standing up, even falls up. Went up the stairs. He's so cool. Yeah, he can sleep walking up the stairs. How about that? I think I ran into that problem a little earlier today. Well, it wasn't intentional. Stumble. Carried my bag up the stairs. At least I was carrying a load, and it was kind of awkward. And after driving 760 miles right here at the house, I injured myself. It would have thunk, right? You got to be careful all the time. Yeah, I'm back home safe, but I have to hit the road before too long. Greg, I want to beat you to the race to shut our area. You probably will. I got to set up to go to bed. I ain't ready to go to bed yet. He looked like the groundhog from Candy Shack. Who did? Me? I feel like the groundhog from Candy Shack. Oh, let's see. Oh, you're talking about President Taterhead? Yeah, good night, Arnold. Yeah, thank you for sharing the link. Yeah, gold backs, that's a good deal right now. I think the price of gold just dipped a little bit. It might be a good time to buy. Maybe. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take me as a financial advisor, but just, as a thinking person, I got the expectation it's going to do this. So if it makes a little dip, might be a good chance. But I'm not a forecaster. I'm not a financial advisor, and I have no track record in that department. But when I look at where the economy is going, what's happening with the dollar, it don't look good to me. That's all I can say. Anyway. Basically saying. Ace is coming. What's Ace is coming? That. Ace is coming. Where'd it go? It might be, Larry. They'd have to edit a lot. Anyway. Or how about it just make it looks? Or trying to shake the hand with Mr. Air. Oh, how you doing? Yes. Go to my links for Eden Brother and True Leaf Market. Make sure you use my links I post in a lot of my videos. Probably not tonight, though. I need to crash, and I probably need to put up a decent thumbnail. I don't know. This video probably won't do well if I don't. But that idea for a thumbnail. I might try to generate one. Jeez. Anyway, thank you, super chatters. Thank y'all so much. You're what keeps me going. Thank you mods for keeping our channel clean here. And thank you everyone for watching. Be sure to share my videos. It's the only way we get them out much these days. So thank you all for that.